Hey everyone, welcome to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
I mean Fuego here.
I'm Andrew Mercer.
Hey, what's up? I'm Eric Harrison from the Death Twitch.
And we are here to do a special review, special in a couple of ways.
So special.
One, this is a review of a fan film that, believe it or not, I don't know that you guys are going to be able to see. So it is an actual fan film for the Scream franchise. It is called Ghostface. Simply Ghostface. And it is directed and written by Brandon Tabbato. I believe that's correct. Let me make sure. So I don't want to butcher the man's name. When he was kind enough to send us a link to the film so we could at least check it out for ourselves, I reached out and asked once he posted on his on the Ghostface Facebook page or his, I'm not sure which it was, but he posted in a group that I follow. I think it might have been Horror Town, I'm not sure, but he posted in one of the horror groups that they made this fan film.
I know this guy. I know him.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, he made this.
Some other stuff.
Okay, cool. There you go. Yeah, I'm not that familiar with him, so.
Yeah, I was like, the whole night I was like, this name's ringing a bell.
Returning, right?
I was like, oh, right, yeah, I know this guy.
Okay. So yeah, he made a fan film for the Scream franchise called Ghostface, and it's not going to be able to be released as of now. While the Mask people did eventually let it slide, the Miramax then stepped in and said, "Oh hell no, this is not going to happen." So, so unfortunately, they weren't going to be able to release it. But he said, "Reach out to me if you want to see it, and I can send you, a direct link, so that way you can at least watch it. They just can't publicly show it." So I reached out and I asked for it, and he sent it over. And the reason why is because fan films are really big right now. Quite frankly, there's the Halloween one coming out in the very near future, The Spirit of Haddonfield, directed by Rene Rivas, I believe is his last name, just off the top of my head, and also in association with Womp Stomp Films. So I'm excited about that because they did their fan film Never Hike Alone, which was the hugely successful Jason one. There's another Friday the 13th fan film by the name of Voorhees that's going to be coming out that our friend Cody Falk is putting together. And so there's fan films in the air. We in fact made our own fan film about 2 years ago that is an American Vampire fan film. So they are they are definitely the way of things right now. So I was actually excited about a Ghostface fan film. It was very reminiscent of Rob Zombie's Halloween as far as the look goes, because what they basically did was they just took the Ghostface mask and weathered it and made it look really old and grungy and stuff.
Which is even mentioned very in a fashion at one point.
Yeah. So that's it. It's basically about a almost 20-minute short. Where you get introduced to Ghostface, and there's two other characters you meet along the way. There's the character that Ghostface is sort of engaging with at the beginning of the short, and then there's the young woman that you follow for the remainder of the short. The beginning is... We'll do this like we normally do our reviews. We'll give our overall thoughts, then the thoughts on the story, the acting, the effects that we got, and all that stuff. So my overall thoughts were... It is a valiant effort, but I think it could have been a really, really cool, like 6-minute short. There was plenty of room for things to be cut down and re-edited and have the dialogue underneath other things and things like that. So I appreciate the effort. I wasn't the biggest fan of this fan film, but still, something has to be said for putting in the diligence and creating something like this. I mean, our film was 9 minutes, and it took 4 days of shooting and everything. This one,
boy, did it ever.
This one probably wouldn't have taken that long because it was really just 2 locations. So anyway, it's still, like I said, valiant effort. I wasn't the hugest fan, but it was a valiant effort. But
yeah, and I can jump on those coattails and say that I think it could have been trimmed a little bit too. There was one particular point where a character is like, doing the finger thing on the table, like waiting for something to happen.
Drumming her fingers, yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of the way that I felt through a lot of it. But I must say, despite the slow pace and despite the, at times, amateur look of it, I actually really liked some of the dialogue. I thought that was one of the saving graces, and it had that same sharp, very self-awareness that was, one of the things that made me enjoy the Scream franchise so much. So I don't know. It's a shame that people can't see this, at least temporarily, because I do personally think that others would enjoy it a little more. And maybe, you know, it could get another trim of sorts if they can figure out some licensing rights or something. I don't know, but I'm going to agree with you in the fact that I did find enough. We've seen some bad films here, man. This is not in that camp. You know, this actually did bring some interesting things to the table. So.
Andrew?
Yeah, I kind of share the same sentiments. It was interesting, kind of kept me entertained till the end. The effects were there. I mean, they did, like I said, they did a good effort at trying to emulate what their take on Scream or their version, their universe of it. Stab, I'm sorry.
It's both.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, I thought it was good. I thought that they stuck with the story. They tried to stay congruent to the actual story, using character names and locations and the actual true backstory. But it also felt weird because they were kind of doing their own thing. So it almost seems like they're basing it off a movie but talking about real people. And it was like, I don't know, it seemed off, but that was the only thing that seemed really off. Everything else made sense. So it was good but not great.
Okay. Eric.
Oh, yeah, man, because I have a history with this guy, and I've seen a bunch of his stuff already, so I get his spice and what he's kind of going for. I kind of understand a twist he might have on the idea a little bit, but it's so interesting because he had me fooled through the beginning, and then I kind of came around a little bit, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember. That's how it kind of came to me, because I'm like, oh, yeah, I know who does like this kind of work. Like, so
you like recognize the tone kind of thing?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Brandon for a few years actually. So
Okay.
So it's interesting. I think he might have real tongue in cheek, really hardcore, because he has a twisted sense of humor. But he might have been really self-aware about everything he was doing. Like he just had to like take it with a grain of salt. It's like he just does this thing. So it's interesting to look at it from the end perspective, because I was fooled throughout. I don't know, but it's like it was masterminded, but it's not like, I don't know how to explain it. It was really, the whole way through I was like, this needs a lot of trim down, right? And I was like, was the ditching of the phone throughout the whole bit?
Yeah, that's a big thing.
On purpose? And I think it was, but I don't know. I wouldn't say it's good, but I think he was going for like a twist, and I know his sense of humor, and I get it. Like I always like.
Okay, fair enough.
I think it's a sleeper a little bit, maybe.
Yeah, maybe so. Well, the story is very easy. It starts off with Ghostface interrogating a victim, trying to get the name or trying to get the locations of Dewey Riley, Gale Weathers, and Sidney Prescott. And I think that's the issue they ran into with Miramax. The fact that they use pictures of the actual actors and the fact that they use the actual character names. In this day and age, if you're going to do a fan film, you can use the bad guy, but you can't use actual actors that were paid. Like, you know, they might get, I'm not sure 100%, but I believe actors that have pictures of them used from the previous film, I believe they still get a little something, even if their picture is used in the sequel. I think that's a sticking point.
I'm positive, in fact, that they do.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that's a big sticking point for them. I also think that maybe they would have thought that this was moving away from their vision too much. I think, like what Eric said, I think a huge thing with Ghostface is the phone, and it never happened until like the last 5 seconds, and at that point you're just like, oh, too little too late, and too uninteresting of a resolution. Like for a horror movie, for a slasher movie, for what amounts to being, you know, minor characters, why did it happen the way that it happened by the end? Like that was disappointing to me. And the story was just, so he's interrogating a victim. He gets no information. He moves on to the next victim to interrogate as well. This victim happens to be working in some sort of organization that might have this information. I'm not sure if it was the police force or not.
I thought she was a grade school teacher.
It seemed like it with the colored file folders, but she had like sensitive information in them. So
that's her way of being sneaky.
Or he still had to get her But I think, you know what I mean? Like he still had
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? She didn't have, it wasn't in there apparently.
I'm just poking fun.
But
Well, no, it was eventually, right? The folded up piece of paper had what he needed. So eventually he did, you know, she just didn't. Yeah. So there was a lot of convenience, and there was a lot. Like, I get that Ghostface is chatty, but he was super
Really
chatty in this. Like, man,
Yes.
and the director does play the voice of Ghostface, so I don't know if he kind of just fell in love with the way he sounded, which granted, I liked the way that he sounded. It
I
did
did too.
sound like a cool rebooted Ghostface.
And the delivery was good.
The delivery was good, and I actually did like the look of it. I thought the mask looked cool. It was very reminiscent of now, especially of the upcoming Halloween movie mask that we see everywhere now on millions of YouTube channels. So I liked the look and I liked the voice, but he was on camera way too much, and he talked way too much.
Movie. It's
Well, I
Ghostface.
know, yeah, but still, the movie, even though Ghostface is the main guy, you still got to keep him in the background.
Yeah, some essence of mystery. You know, the funny thing is with this is, if that was like what gave them trouble with actually being able to showcase this, is the fact that they used Prescott and Dewey and so on and Gil Weathers. It's like, that was actually what I found interesting, was the fact that, okay, this person has a plane there. It's not Ghostface doing something just random to some other random person. It fit in like the actual, mythology of those films. And, some of the talk about reboots and stuff like that, I know they covered it extensively, more so in remake talk in Scream 4 and stuff like that. But I mean, with Rob Zombie's Halloween, for instance, taking a franchise and just totally remaking it, or as opposed to, I don't know. I found those themes interesting, and they brought a little bit more to the proceedings. It just, it was too slow paced. It did drag more so than I wanted to, but it did present interesting ideas. That is the one thing that I did enjoy story-wise about this. So,
Would the story catch you at all, Andrew?
Not really. I mean,
are you a big fan of the series?
I've obviously watched the series. To me, it was one. They do the classic, look over here. We're gonna get you over here. There really wasn't any of that. It was just like, it was very direct. Like,
Very
I have my victim. Here it is. Here's us talking. I have my second victim. Here it is. Here us talking. And that was really what it boiled down to.
And
So
neither of the victims really talked.
I mean, I think hitting on what you were talking about with the creativity, yeah, she takes a punch like you wouldn't believe. But I think there's kind of ideas that maybe if you got a couple different scenes or different settings and stuff like that, maybe you would see the creativity flourish. But in these two scenes specifically, they didn't do that. So.
No, you really got to take the opportunity you have to set yourself apart, and with the amount of time you have, you get time to really focus on the things that aren't working. Like if there's this and that, they're spending so much time there that you're like getting time to figure out what's not working with everything, because you're disengaged with what he's saying. While I do agree with you, Fuego, some of what he said was good and interesting, but
not all of it.
the problem is, guys, and it's not going to be a huge problem for you guys because you might not see it, although I would recommend reaching out to Brandon if you do want to watch it. The problem is, Ghostface explains why he's going to be different, and when he's going to reboot the franchise himself, and in doing so, he's not going to waste time talking to his victims. He's going to just go straight for the kill, and he's not going to monologue and reveal his master plan. He's saying these things he's not going to do while literally doing them.
Yeah.
So that doesn't work.
The whole Bond bit, especially.
Doesn't work. You can't say, I'm not going to be the kind of guy that explains the plan, even though I just explained what my plan is to you.
In the last 5 minutes.
Oh, wow. So, I don't know,
Maybe
man.
that was deliberate. I mean, based on the guy's, flavor, Eric, I mean, have you...
Oh,
I mean, based on
yeah,
the
I
way
feel
this
like
guy...
he just had real tongue-in-cheek, and he knows what he's doing, and he's had fun with it, and kind of, he just has, like, I give him, congrats for doing what he does, because I think he did it on purpose to a certain degree, because he really liked that.
If anything, that bit felt like it would
He
have
does
been on
whatever the
purpose,
hell he
because, I
wants.
mean...
But, no, while I was watching it before I realized who he was and what I think was going on, I was like, man, there's so many things that could be improved here, but then I was like, oh, I know this guy, and yes, I get it, but it's not like a genius or anything, but it's just him doing his thing, his flavor. So I get it, and it's kind of all right. But like, if you want real advice, like everything needed to be tightened up. A lot of shit needed to be taken out, like, and it's turned into I don't know, a different. I don't know. It was just too dragged out. Right? But no, I kind of get him. So it's like I always watch some of his stuff.
I believe it or not, the makings, what we saw, like, is enough. Where if I had the inclination, I could go in and edit it down to like a lean, mean 6-minute thing, without even the raw files. So like, you can tell that there's something there that would be really cool. I would recommend shooting a different ending myself, or at least a much more interesting tag.
That's where I was like, oh, is he really like commenting that hardcore about something?
If he was, I couldn't see what. So that's a problem. That's a problem.
Well, you know what? There was a little bit of he was just like, he talked about how you have to destroy it. So like, he's destroying it by doing that on purpose, but because I sort of know him.
Well, I mean, and there were honestly there were moments in the Scream franchise
and he talks
where
about
the
it
character,
so blatantly when he's on the phone, because it goes on for fucking long.
Yeah, and that's where the more I think about it now, even in this review, I think it was deliberate, because of the fact that, I mean, there were moments in the Scream franchise where these killers were very aware of the mythology, and yet they still did the dumbest things, and it almost felt like it was deliberate.
But there's a way to have him keep talking
and
not have him just wave a knife around for 5 minutes.
It could be all improved, like, in every way, because like, you can clearly see they utilized 2 sets, or whatever they had. They stopped outside.
It was probably all the same set.
Yeah, exactly. There was a garage for the first. It was all the same house, I'm sure.
Or whatever, with a spotlight, and he was giving a monologue for a long time. But I almost feel like he was just fucking around.
But it's
when you're gonna put it's a weird situation.
It is, because if you're gonna put that much effort into something, try and make it as good as possible. So I don't know. It could be. I guess if he's that kind of guy, if he's just like, if he's just saying whatever, then it's weird to spend that much time and effort just doing that. So I don't know. I don't know. But you know, either way, I'm glad I saw it, because it was a cool take, and there were some things that like, when I remember back, I'm sure I'll remember the interesting parts. You know, so that's a good thing.
Made me appreciate the original more.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Hey, we're here for our honesty.
Yeah, and I mean, there wasn't an extensive amount, like, musically or anything to discuss, or I mean, sound-wise, us talking about, you know, there wasn't a voice modulator kind of thing, although, and it sounded just a hair. Well, I mean,
I personally think the whole thing
there wasn't
was
like a holding an actual device.
You think so?
I personally think the whole entire thing was ADR.
ADR.
Could have easily been.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Some of the interactions were off-timed. They felt like they were the dialogue might have been forced to what they were doing on the screen. So
well, our copy kept the speed kept getting behind for some reason. The sound would stay, and then the picture would lag behind for some reason. It's very weird. It doesn't usually happen for us. So I don't know.
There was one
system.
practical kill effect. A little slice and dicing.
Well, okay, then you just ruined that not both of them die, but...
Oh, well, we can cut that. We can cut that.
Yeah, let's leave that out.
People will see it eventually, right? Somehow?
Eventually, but let's just leave it out for now. So yeah, guys, I mean, I think that's pretty much all we can say about Ghostface. I mean,
yeah, it was an interesting experience.
Well, like I said, I'm glad I saw it.
Yeah, same here, because I love the franchise.
Well, maybe it'll spur somebody on to try and do their own thing, and they'll have a different take on it. Just continues the discussion, which I think, as far as horror goes, as long as we're discussing this stuff, trying to make the best of the best, that'll keep the products moving towards the right.
Now, I'm going to say something here that people are going to hate that I'm going to say. But I think a very good Ghostface fan film,
a scary movie?
No, would be one shot as a found footage movie, where it's a party going on, and it's kids with their phones,
a little bit,
and you see them like selfieing and talking, and then you just see in the background Ghostface zipping across and trying to hide somewhere else. You know, they did that in part 2, where they're talking on the phone to Ghostface, and another Ghostface sneaks in right behind them and goes and hides. So you know there are 2 killers.
Didn't in part 4, Kevin's little brother, whatever his name is, the Culkin kid, the Rory Culkin
I've only
kid,
seen that once.
Wasn't it? He was going around filming everything, and he was like live streaming things, or like trying to do live webcamming and live blogging and all this. I actually really, really like Scream 4.
A lot of people do. 3 is the low one. I've only seen 4 once, though.
Shit.
I was bummed with
I like
3
3.
because we didn't lose any characters. There was no stakes in 4, I didn't feel like, because no one died.
Yeah, all these minor new characters they introduced.
That was always a staple of Scream. You lose someone you like in every movie.
Oh man, Cody's review of Scream 3.
That's pretty funny.
Anyway.
All right, well, we're off topic, kind of. But anyway, why don't you guys let us know in the comments down below. If you want to watch Ghostface, drop a comment. And, you know, the director, I'm sure, will watch this. And you know, I don't know, maybe he'll want me to put a link in the description box on how to contact him to get a viewing copy of it. So if so, that'll be in the description box.
Woo!
If not, then, you know, try and look up how to reach out to him to watch it yourselves. But yeah, that's going to do it, guys. Thanks very much for watching. I've been Cecil Laird.
Gracias, Fuego.
I'm Andrew Mercer.
What's up? I'm Eric Harrison.
And remember, stay scared!